Okay, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning or good evening, depending upon where you are. My name's Eben, and today we're going to be doing our weekly Sunday live streams here. So let me just check to make sure I'm actually streaming, and it looks like I am, which is a good sign. And turn that sound off on my iPad here. So yeah, today I don't really have any specific plans about what I'm going to create here. Although I believe there was a request a couple weeks ago from somebody. I think it was Killjard. Can't remember his actual name, but he was requesting a like a necromancer scene of a sorcerer or something summoning some ancient being from the from a mountain temple or something like that. So I figured I'd start with that and see where that takes us today. So cue the cinematic music here. I've got my sorry it took a minute. I've got my my tea here, and I had a bit of a late night last night, so I'm just sort of just still coming online here, but we're gonna make the best of it. Sometimes that can be a good spot to be in creatively, but not so much cognitively, I suppose. Alright, hey Jose, hey Vera, nice to see you guys here. And so, where are we going to start? Let's do something a bit different from our usual atmosphere here. Start with something dark. Maybe have sort of an underlit scene. And maybe we'll start out with a bit of a sketch here too. Sometimes I'll skip that step, but maybe I feel like just doing a bit of drawing here. Party hard or go home. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I wasn't exactly partying. I was just, I don't know. Sometimes I just have poor foresight when it comes to the bedtime. I'll stay up late working on all these different projects, and it's really like, yeah, I'll catch up on sleep later. But here we are. Happens to the best of us. Productive time, though, nonetheless. So, I'm wondering how we're going to set this up. I haven't even really thought about it. So we want to have our character somewhere in the foreground. Maybe we'll have sort of a top-down view, or maybe a sort of a bottom-up view. Depends on how we want to set things up here. Oh, there's my anthem. The end scene of the movie soundtrack here. Let's get that out of the way at the beginning. I might even switch this to a portrait orientation here, since we're thinking about some kind of dramatic raising, some sort of upward action here. So maybe let's try something. I could even do a square. That's not one I do often, although I don't know, I think squares kind of tough to pull off sometimes. Definitely works for the social medias, though. They love their squares. Alright, let's try something like this. I mean, normally for these streams, I do try to stick with a landscape, because... I wonder why this isn't cropping here. Okay, that was interesting. Yeah, normally I try to stick with a landscape just so you guys can see a little bit better, but I think it's nice to switch it up, and also for various projects, a portrait view is definitely going to be preferable. Let's see, so yeah, maybe we'll have a bit of a top-down view here. I gotta think about being a bit more deliberate with my lines. Set up a bit of flow here. So we're in some kind of temple or underground structure here. I made a painting sort of like this a while back of that assassin sort of crouched at the edge of like at the edge of the stone spiral almost, with all these cultists below. It's kind of underlit. So let's set up our character here. Classic hooded triangle figure here. Maybe let's give him a bit more dynamics. He is raising the roof. Keep this perspective too. Maybe I'll sort of solidify that just by making some boxes here. Sometimes that's helpful for sort of mapping out and reinforcing your perspective. Just think about, like, this is just sort of like a cowbell shape almost. And later we'll go in and refine that. I don't think I've ever quite done a pose like this. It'd be interesting to see how these the hands and everything play out. The hands are going to be important here, and unfortunately, hands are kind of one of my weak points. That I've been working on it for the past few months, but still need quite a bit of practice. So let's have we'll have this kind of large shape sort of coming out of the earth here, kind of being awakened for the first time in millions of years, no doubt. So his head's kind of bowed. He's not really conscious yet. Shoulders are up as if he's being sort of hoisted up by by an invisible crane. Just kind of going down like this. I guess the rest of him will maybe we can have him sort of taking up a bit more of our frame here. Might as well, since he's our main event here. He's got some weird, maybe the bottom half of him is just like still forming. Will give me the excuse I never need to start making some clouds and atmosphere and that kind of stuff. Let's make his head smaller, because larger things tend to have smaller heads. Maybe have some, to show he's kind of being raised up, we'll just have some, I don't know, like stuff dripping off of him or something. Smoke or liquid or something. The necromancer could raise one hand with his wand. Interesting. If it decided whether or not he will have a wand or a staff or something. Right now it kind of looks like he's just doing this with his bare magical abilities. But it's definitely not too late to rule anything out. Have some like kind of fire happening around his hands. Maybe just for the sake of a more dramatic composition. Move this guy over a bit. Give the whole painting a bit more space, a bit more room to breathe. This is like the boss battle here, something like that. I was playing this Star Wars game recently. The first Force Unleashed. That game is pretty wild. Probably going to be drawing on some of that, just in terms of the effects, maybe some of the staging here. Maybe we can just to show this scale a bit more. Let's just taper this towards the bottom. I really want to reinforce that, the impression that he's sort of this gigantic thing coming out of a pit below, so you can even, maybe we'll have some kind of pool or something down here. And I'll just want to kind of edit these shapes so it sort of looks like we're seeing more of the top portion. Some smoke, things like that. And I was thinking this could be some kind of path leading down and around. Of course, we're just gonna use some of these nice environmental cues to sort of shape the perspective and also help map the composition and guide the eye in from the edges. Maybe we'll have some steps going down here. Not totally sure if that will work, you know, just it's really close to the edge of the canvas, but I think if we keep low enough contrast down there, could be good. We can even have the stairs actually changing direction, going down this way as well. So we have a nice path around the edge, sort of an unconventional path, but I think it will work. I'm thinking of having more architectural elements here now. Some little stone things happening. So it's less of a cave and more of kind of a more of a temple, as was requested here. So we'll have like a circular base. Well, yeah, I spend a fair amount of time just sketching, and it's a great way to practice, great way to unwind, and definitely been working on some different perspectives and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think we've got a pretty solid composition at this point. Honestly, we pretty much have all the information we need to start painting, but I'm just gonna spend a bit more time sketching things out, just to get some ideas flowing about how I want the architecture and everything to go. That can be kind of fun. make sure my perspective lines are working well. That the lines coming down from the walls are meeting the edge of the circle at the right angle, that kind of thing. Of course, later on we can add all kinds of cool patterns and stuff like that in the stone. It can be kind of fun. I was doing a bit of that recently with this this piece I made on Procreate a few nights ago. This big temple, and this guy that was getting ready to climb it. Speaking of which, my one plug for this stream is I'm currently running a Black Friday sale on my website with so you can get prints and the brush pack, and I have one tutorial on there right now. I got another one coming. All that stuff is discounted right now, so that's gonna wrap up tomorrow. So make sure you get in there if you've been looking at anything and check it out. I've had a lot of people actually scooping up that brush pack recently, and I'm working on another update right now, and also working on Procreate compatibility, because I've been working with Procreate a lot, and I've had some people request. I mean, you know, ostensibly, Photoshop brushes can be imported into Procreate, but things get kind of messed up in the process and they don't come out exactly right. So I've been doing a lot of tweaking within Procreate on the brush pack to make sure everything's working as intended. So keep an eye out for that. Hello, Robatio. Welcome, and I'll take that as a compliment, I suppose. But don't be so quick to put your own stuff down. Just take some time. That's all. Nice to see you in the stream here. Feel free to drop any questions or comments or any requests for future content here. This piece I'm working on was from a request that someone made a couple weeks ago for a necromancer summoning some ancient deity or monster or something from a underground temple. So that's what we're working on today, and so far it's pretty fun. I love getting requests from people on these streams because it kind of it's just like free idea generation basically, and often that helps me come up with things that I might not otherwise think of on my own. And sometimes that can really force me out of my comfort zone, which is always it's always good to be pushing that a little bit. Cool. I probably won't spend too much time refining all these circles and everything because I'll probably end up using some Photoshop tools for that later, but it's looking pretty accurate at the moment. Hey there, Swapnil. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let me know if I'm not. How do I decide the line weight? I'm not too concerned about it at the moment, actually. This is just a sketch, and you could use whatever type of line or shape or value you want. This is just about exploring ideas, and at this point, I'm not too concerned about what this sketch is looking like as much as what it's communicating in terms of perspective and ideas and all that. So, and I think we are getting to the point where I'm gonna want to start painting. So let's create a new layer here, and there are definitely a lot of different ways to approach this. I feel like I do a slightly different version every time, but let's start with our mixer brush here. And actually, I think what I usually do is I'll copy and paste those layers into a new one, and I can just start working directly from here. Just color picking and painting over it. Just probably gonna try to get some of these values in first. I'm considering maybe having a secondary light source, maybe something a bit warmer from above, just to contrast with the sort of blue light coming from underneath. At the very least, I'm just starting to, with these shadows, I'm painting in a warmer shadow color, which is actually not even close to a red. It's still well within the blue area of the spectrum, but it looks reddish in comparison. So, and I might as well fill this in as well. This will probably be a bit darker. Get some creepy music going here. I'm just blocking in shapes right now. I know I have this sketch on another layer if I ever need to reference it. But I try to just remember and keep in mind what I was trying to articulate with it. The sketch is just a plan after all, and sometimes plans change. Sometimes you come up with better ideas, or sometimes you need to remind yourself what your original idea was. So it's good to keep that sketch handy, but no need to stick with it religiously. What's the command for merging layers? That's an easy question. Control E. So you just hold down Shift, select them all, hit Control E. It's a very useful command. I'm merging layers all the time because it's just I prefer to work with fewer and often to just work with one. That's different for everyone. I know when I was first starting out, I wasn't totally comfortable doing that in my digital paintings, I guess I just wanted to explore the possibility of layers because I had just been working with oils for most of the time before that, and so it's kind of like, wow, you know, these layers can save me a lot of trouble, but which is true, but they can also create trouble if you let them, I suppose. By that I mean they can sort of restrict your process sometimes if you and again, everyone has their own different way of doing it, but for me, having all these layers to manage sort of detracts from the creative freedom I have, and also I prefer to have a little bit of exaggerated accountability when I paint, which means sort of, I don't know, I guess you could call it, it's sort of more destructive painting. You know, when you talk about destructive editing, it's like when you make changes, you want to destructive editing is like making changes without having a backup, essentially, which for some people may be how they want to work. But I find that getting used to painting sort of with risk, I guess you could call it, helps to build confidence in your creative decisions. You know, every stroke you put down is like a step forward. You're not sort of alternating between different possibilities. You're just constantly moving forward, and you have to think carefully about the decisions you make. So this is kind of cool. I like this. Brings in a whole new value range here. We can think about exploring this with all these like different rivers or whatever. I'm just kind of putting these in here to experiment with some ideas. You don't have to be perfect at this point. I'll have some areas that are sort of catching the light on this figure here. Maybe not quite as bright as the light source itself, but maybe we'll have just sort of a faint outline around here. That can be kind of cool. Maybe the light source above is like torches or fire or something. I don't know. Maybe we don't need that, but it could be kind of interesting to play with. I'll just put some experimental strokes down here so we can think about that as we're moving forward. Maybe just some more red. Like, this is just something I'm inventing because it's just a way to play up the contrast more. It's like I'm leading with the design element. I'm not coming up with an idea and then finding a way to justify it. I'm coming up with a design choice and then coming up with a way to justify it through the idea. That's why you don't always have to start with like a great idea at first. You can just dive in and start creating things that you know, based on your artistic experience and understanding of design and all that, will look good, and composition and everything. And then from there you can decide what the painting is going to be about. This red is probably a bit intense, so we might just dial that back a bit. But something to think about here. Probably start getting rid of these lines as well. Come up with some stone protrusions in our background. This is probably just going to be blacked out here. I'm using the mixer brush again. Just kind of switching back and forth between the mixer brush and that heavy, opaque texture brush as well. Let's flip this. We haven't done that yet. Oh, interesting. Okay. Just seeing a lot of things here that aren't being communicated very effectively, so... just gonna mess around with that a little bit. To make some decisions about the values back here. How I want them to be set up. Because he's going to be... actually, no. These are going to be just as well lit as everything else. I was almost thinking he was casting a shadow, but I don't think he is. Yeah, because the light source is coming from all sides here. Yeah, so I have to make some choices about how I want these values to be represented, because right now it's not very... they're all kind of blending together a bit. I want to make him stand out. I think he needs to be moved over a little bit. What the heck happened there? Copy, paste, over and down. Doors could create, yeah, that could be interesting, having some light coming from the doors. That could be our secondary light source. We'd have to really reverse a lot of the decisions we made here, which I don't know if I want to do because I'm feeling lazy, but it's worth exploring. Let's give it a try. Just quickly open some things here. Just kind of eyeball it, see if this will work. I'm just looking at the navigator here, so I'm zooming way out. You know, let's just mess around with things at this scale. I'm sorry it looks very small to you, but it'll help you help us both get a sense of how our shapes are working out here. Hey there, Enos. Nice to see you here. Just working on this this necromancer summoning thing here. Just playing around with some ideas, experimenting a bit. I guess we would have to balance this out too, having some of these over here. But then we're dealing with a lot of, I don't know, this might be a bit too complex. Unless the ones to the side were a bit duller. More red. Even so, he would have to be lit from all of those directions at once. It's possible. But is it easy? No. I'm looking for the easiest possible solution right now because I'm tired and lazy. I'm being very loose with it right now as well. I'm just trying to see how all these shapes and colors are gonna work with one another. Maybe I'm being a bit too loose. So let me think about this. There's going to be a lot of logic involved here. Logic about light patterns and that kind of thing. Maybe there can be like people in each doorway that are like chanting and summoning this thing. Maybe I'll make the doorways smaller. That might help to simplify things. To be honest, this is feeling a bit like a big mess right now. So then, shadow here will not be lit from above. We'll probably have some darker values. All the places the light aren't hitting, which does help us develop our contrast more. Yeah, I'll definitely be taking these values down. Maybe that's what's tripping me up. Alright, this is starting to make sense a little bit for me. like this. This brush is so great because it just keeps automatically creating color variety for me. It's like just takes a lot of it, just sort of automates a lot of that process, which is really helpful. I love to have a lot of color variety in my piece, even pieces like this that might be a bit dimmer or more, dark or dramatic. So every time I color pick from this brush creates small color variations here. So every time I pick a new color, it will pick one of those small variations. And so the more I color pick and paint, the more color variety I'm going to have. Guess this will also be a circle up here, huh? Just be a wider circle. God, what have I gotten myself into here? The red crowd, the strange visitors. What happened to it? What happened was, I think I did 2 streams. Maybe that was even a 3-part one. Kind of ended up becoming a bit of an uphill battle towards the end there. And, it needed more work, and I think I was just kind of a little bit fed up with it. So I think it had some good potential, but I just wasn't giving it what it needed. So it is still a PSD somewhere. I mean, you can still see that the whole stream is up here on YouTube. But it's one of the many pieces on my long list of things to finish. Yeah, it's not right. It's not on the store. I think it was pretty close. It needed some more work in the foreground. I think that was pretty much it. I needed to give that character some more detail and sort of develop what was going on there in the foreground, because it was sort of unclear. But if that's one you want to see finished, I can I'll push it to the front of the line. I actually kind of forgot about that one, but it happens quite a lot, actually. I will, I'm sure I have probably 20-30 pieces just floating around somewhere on my computer right now that have some potential, but that I never finished. I inevitably just sort of got to a point where I was either distracted by something else or I just wasn't feeling it. So I just moved on to something else, which I don't think wasn't necessarily a bad decision. I mean, that's it's often a great way to just make sure your practice continues, is just by moving on to to something that's not resisting quite so much. But it is great to come back to those sometime later, maybe when you've developed the skills that you were missing when you created that piece, or when you started it, and sort of carry it further. I've been doing that a lot. I mean, like the past 3 or 4 pieces I've finished that I've posted up were from old 30-minute speed paintings that I did in I think it was like February or March of this year, and I just sort of created them and I posted them, and I never thought about it again. And I was just going through those, and I was like, there's some really great ideas here, and I just would really love to finish these off. And I think having given myself some time and space in between then and now, and also having developed a lot of those skills that I was missing at the time, it's almost easier to finish them off now than it would have been then, which is I guess a good sign of progress. But that doesn't mean that now I'm not still producing things that put me in a similar position, kind of like this one. Like, I'm pretty I really feel like I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm just sort of blindly pushing through. So for some reason or another, but yeah. All right, I'll definitely I'll make a note to finish that one up. I might just export it to Procreate and work on it there. For some reason, I've just been way more comfortable with that, with working on Procreate recently. I guess I always kind of have been, but the program has its limitations. But honestly, since I've been converting this brush pack and putting it on there and using those brushes on the iPad, it's just made it's been really great. Unfortunately, I don't really have a way to stream from there. I've tried some things like programs to sort of try to live stream the screen recording from there, and they don't none of them have worked very well. So I'm still kind of looking into that. It would be cool to live stream a Procreate session. But anyway, yeah, I've just been more drawn to that because I don't know, it's just a bit more relaxing to be kind of sitting back like on a couch or something, or in a stuffed chair, and just sort of working with something you can hold in your hands. It's I think just a bit more intuitive, a bit more easy to relax and get into it. And like, I'll put on an audiobook and just really spend hours just getting into it and losing myself in the details. So yeah, for some reason that's just where my heart's been at recently, and I feel like I haven't quite been getting the same results or level of comfort in Photoshop. Alright, let's make some big adjustments here. lose our music? Nope. Still here. Oh, maybe let's take some of this. Just create some atmosphere here. Maybe that's what I was missing. Hey there, it's Addy. Nice to see you. Welcome. I'm just sort of getting lost in the music and trying to figure out how to move this painting forward here. So feel free to drop a question or a comment or a request for what you want to see here, and I'd be happy to make it happen. I'm getting a bit lost in the zone with this one. Getting to that point in the painting process where it's very difficult to talk and paint at the same time. Maybe I should start working on some of the details of this creature, whatever it is. It's one thing I forget all too often is when you are not making any progress with one area of a piece. It's easy to think that the piece itself or in general just isn't working, but sometimes you can just switch to another part, a different area of that piece, and use that to re-immerse yourself in the painting. Also sometimes helps to just go around and do a bit of drawing to help re-solidify your ideas. And thank you. I'm glad you think the piece looks good. Let's move this head over a little bit. It's just a little off center. We can blow it up. Maybe it can have some glowing eyeballs in here or something. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll have some horns or something. Oh man, this thing looks pretty messed up. Yes, we could. It's okay to keep mentioning the crowds. I know I have yet to completely fulfill that that request, but yeah, we could have some other guys up here, maybe some down here in the lower platform, just all sort of chanting together or something. Maybe I'm not so sure about those horns, but he's starting to look good and ugly. It's a good sign. Man, what the heck am I doing here? Maybe I should just leave this poor guy alone. What do you think his story is? This ancient being. Hey there, Jumpty. I think that's how you pronounce that. Welcome and thank you. I'm actually kind of all over the place with this one today. But glad it's looking good from your end. It's probably about the time I would want to dig up some kind of reference here. Since it doesn't seem like I have the right information in my visual library. But we'll move on to another area for a little while, and we'll come back to this. Let's try something a bit unique here. Hey there, Sam. Nice to see you. And thank you. I'm glad it's looking eerie. That's definitely the mood I'm going for here. Kind of like dolphin noises going on in the background here. Awesome. Maybe if I turn the head up a little bit. Oh, now he looks sad. It's not the mood I'm going for here. This giant sad boy getting pulled out of the water. Let's give him some eyes here. That's kind of creepy. Whoops. Let's try that again. Just going through with the smudge tool here, pushing things around a bit. Smudge tool is really great for just doing some shaping. At least on Photoshop, it has that function of sort of being able to push things around a little bit. Probably use some more colors on this guy. I think we should probably make his head bigger again too. There we go. Looks a bit more proportional to the perspective we've set up. It's got a double chin, quite literally. His horns going out like this. Sort of this demon creature. It's kind of cool. stop messing around with this guy's head. After all, it's been almost 2 hours here. And it's been a lot of trial and error. A lot of learning happening today. Not so much creating awesome stuff. But it's all valuable time spent, of course. But I mean, that's what happens when you throw yourself out of your comfort zone. Just spend a bit more time practicing than creating what you might consider to be finished or, you know, impressive work, I suppose. It's looking cool though. I mean, after quite a bit of time, quite a bit of tweaking, starting to see how this might work. Can use the smudge tool here to just like play out these horns. That's always kind of fun. Now he's spiky. He's a spiky dude. We don't need these values over here. Maybe we'll add a little bit on this horn here. I don't know, we're not sure. It does kind of look like a Yu-Gi-Oh character now. Part 2 live stream, yeah. Well, it's definitely not gonna finish this one today. That's for sure. So that is what it's looking like. It's just a matter of whether or not I want to continue this next week. We'll see. I don't know. Feel free to vote yay or nay. The popular vote decrees it, I will continue. I mean, to be fair, at this point I am, well, like I said, I am just starting to see, you know, there's like a certain, I don't know, there's a point in your painting where you can see the, like the complete, you can see like the final result in the painting, you know, almost like you can just see where it's headed, where it's what its essence will be, and you know, beyond the current moment that you're working on it. And so I don't know, sometimes I just you know, sometimes you just don't see that, at least for a while, and I'm just starting to just starting to pick up on that. But it's faint. It sounds like you guys can see it though, so I mean you're gonna have to be my guiding light on this one. It's like you just have to keep keep pushing the paint around until you see something that, like, I mean, I guess that's kind of what happens when you're not working from reference material, or you don't have like a solid enough grasp of the subject matter where you can sort of draw from that reference material. Because I've just been working with a lot of stuff in this one that I'm not particularly well practiced in. So that doesn't mean it can't work. It just means that, like, there's more time spent sort of just like, hey, let's try this, see if that looks right. Hey, let's try this, see if that looks right. Which is, another form of learning entirely, but not necessarily the most efficient. But that's, I mean, even just spending time looking at other artists and their products helps you develop a sense. It helps you develop that sense where you reach a point in your piece where it's just like, oh yeah, like I'm starting to see, something that sort of resembles, something I saw in that, like, Greg Rutkowski piece or something, and then you can follow that. You can push it even more, like, oh yeah, that's how you get that. And obviously, doesn't mean your whole painting's going to be on that same quality level, but you can start to pick up on little bits and pieces where you're like, oh yeah, I'm starting to see how they might have done that. And you can develop that sense just by, spending some time looking at their work and really enjoying their work and absorbing it. I have this ArtStation has this Google Chrome extension where you can sort of you can see all this new work pop up in your new tabs from ArtStation, and that's really cool. I mean, I get distracted by that sometimes, but it's a great way to sort of inject that kind of inspiration into your daily life. Exactly. Or I wish I could remember some of the other names that I've been looking at recently, but that's just one that always comes to mind. He's kind of just like the kind of just that beacon where you're like, if I can get my art to look like 50 to 70% closer to that, like, I'll be set for life. So, they're just some artists where you're just like, that's it. That's the style I'm looking for. And of course, that's not how it ends up working. We all develop our own styles, and the more you learn and develop, the more you start to make your own independent decisions about those things. So I know my work is never going to look like Greg Rutkowski. I mean, maybe in part because I don't know if I even have enough years in my life to to practice to get to that level, but also because I'm just gonna discover my own style, and I'm gonna make different choices, different design choices once I have a better sense of that style. So. Well, 2 hours later, now that I've got that face approximately where I would like it to be, maybe it's time to start working on some other stuff. But pretty burnt out for today. Or not for today necessarily, but definitely for this particular session. Sometimes making art is work. See what it looks like upside down again. Yeah, I had to do some, this is just sort of bringing to my attention that I need to do some studies, maybe some human figure studies or anatomy studies from this angle, because I think the some things I noticed during this process, like some things I was really struggling with, was like the planes of the face and how they work at this angle, and as well as the arms and the chest. Not so much the shoulders and all that. I'm sort of familiar with what they might look like from this angle, and I think I got the perspective loosely right. But I think, I don't know. It's definitely, I'm going to take a minute after this and sort of think about, what I've learned in terms of my own, I don't want to say weak points, but sure, we can just say that areas that I need to target and focus and work on. So like that's definitely something to always keep in mind whenever you're hitting walls in your own work. It's just really, instead of just sitting down afterwards and be like, well, I guess I'm terrible at painting, maybe I'll never paint again. Think like, okay, obviously you've made good paintings before that you've liked and felt satisfied with, so those are things that you are already pretty good at. So what did you attempt in this piece? In this case, what did I attempt in this piece that I was struggling with, that I haven't practiced much, or that I don't know enough about? And how can I isolate that practice and incorporate that into my practice schedule, my daily practice schedule, to target and improve those skills? Because usually it's just like one or two things in a painting that will hold you back. And like in this case, will take 2 hours to sort of set up one little part. Whereas, I mean, I could have taken those same 2 hours and sort of developed the rest of this painting, areas that I'm already pretty comfortable with, architecture and architecture perspective, and like the character from this view. I'm pretty comfortable with that, but I could have developed those other things to a much greater degree in the same amount of time. But yeah, it's just worth noting for yourself, for your practice routine, and make sure you're always just looking at it from that lens of, how do I target these things to make my process more efficient next time. Just sort of putting in some little rocks or something here, little stones that are coming in. Not sure how this is all going to work, but kind of like how these sort of veins of light are coming out. I'm really liking how that looks on the thumbnail. Almost like they're just these sections where the I don't know, the life juices are pouring in from some deep underground well or some other room. Somehow I keep shrinking his that's another thing I've noticed I do all the time in my work. Like whenever I'm painting a face, the more I work on it, the more it just shrinks down. I have to keep like resizing it and putting it back in the right spot. Sort of returning to these bigger shapes, these bigger value shifts, and tweaking them, making sure that's all looking good from a distance. Another thing to bear in mind is, if you are returning to a piece later, think about what you can do now to set yourself up for success the second time through. You don't want to just sort of leave it in a place that's going to be difficult to pick up on later on. So whatever that means for you, whether it's just sort of refining some overall shapes or finishing a certain area or getting it to a certain level of development. You want to be able to jump back in and sort of be able to see some potential, just to make it easier for yourself when you return. If you sense you're reaching a moment of frustration with a piece, maybe it's best to stop before that frustration begins to manifest itself more clearly in your painting. So when you come back and you've cleared your mind a bit, you'll have a better starting point to work from. In any case, I'm going to put the pen down today, for now, because I've reached a point where I think I've pulled myself out of the weeds a little bit, but definitely going to need a break to come back to this one, rethink some things, get a fresh perspective, and ultimately evaluate if I want to continue this. But I appreciate the input, and I'll try to see if I can make a part 2 this one. But thank you for the inspiration. I can't remember who dropped that comment for the idea. I think it was Killjard or something like that. But thanks for the idea. This was a pretty interesting exploration of something a little outside of my comfort zone here, and thank you, Jose and Vieira, and everyone else who showed up here today and gave some input and listened to me ramble a bit and watch the process. So thank you all so much for showing up. And once again, you can check out the brush pack and prints, and I've got another tutorial on my website right now that's all discounted at the moment, so make sure you hop over to the website in the link below, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. So thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you next week, or actually I'll probably see you on Wednesday. I'll be putting out a new video then, and then I'll be doing another live stream on Sunday. So alright,